Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name's Teresa and I'm the Carbootcrafter, and welcome to day 5 of my 12 days of Christmas, where I'm bringing you 12 Christmas projects just in time for the festive season. So today's projects are these super cute little handbag gift boxes that I've been making for friends and family. So let me just show you how they work. So you've got a sleeve that you then pull this little box out, and then inside you have plenty of room for a cheeky little bottle of wine and some chocolates. This isn't an original idea. I have made it for the last couple of years for friends and family, but I think I saw it on Jan B's channel, but I've been on and I can't find it. So I'm not sure if it was Jan B, although I did think it was. If I do find out who it was before I upload this video, I'll put the link below, but I can't remember who it was if it wasn't Jan B. Okay then, so let me show you how I make these. So you'll need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 paper, and it's entirely up to you what pattern, or whether you want for these ones, because they're quite blingy. I've used a pattern paper inside, sorry, a plain paper inside, whereas with this one I've used, oh, that's my bottle of wine gone. I've used 2 patterns. So there we go. So you'll need, so the base, to make the box, you'll keep your 12 by 12 at 12 by 12, but you will need to cut the one that you're going to use as the sleeve. So you will need to cut your cover. So this will be the sleeve that wraps around. This is 12 in length by 7 5/8 across. You'll then cut from the remaining bit, you'll cut a piece that is 2 1/4 across by 7 6/8 in length, and then this piece that's left over, this is 2 1/4 in width by 7 1/2 in length, and then you've got this piece left over, which you can use on other projects. You'll also need some backing paper to make the flap for the handbag. So this is some red mirror card, which is 7 6/8 by 2 3/8, and you'll use that with this piece that is 2 1/4 by 7 1/2 to make the flap like that. Okay, so let me pop those all to one side and I'll bring them in when we get to that point. So using your base card, you're going to pop it in your scoreboard. Now, knowing that not every 12 by 12 is a true 12 by 12, this one is, luckily enough, but sometimes they do run short a little bit, don't they? So I'm just going to show you how you would do it if you weren't sure of the sizes. So you're going to get your scoreboard and you're going to take that side and you're going to score now all the way down at 2 1/4, all the way down. So I tend to do it a couple of times just to reinforce that score. Then I'm going to rotate it all the way around so that my score line is now here. Pop it back in my scoreboard and I'm going to score again at 2 1/4. So just do that a couple of times. Then I'm going to rotate it once, and now I'm going to score at let me have a look, 4 7/8. So 4 7/8. So 7/8 is 1 below the 5, or you can count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and score all the way down. I'll do that, and then you're going to rotate all the way around again. So that score line I've just made is here, and then I'm going to do exactly the same. So go to my 4, count up to the 7 and score all the way down there again. Now what I'm going to do is, let me just grab what that is 2 3/4. So now what I'm going to do is go across to my 2 3/4, and I'm going to score, but I'm only going to score to this first score line here. So back in the 2 3/4 and score to that first score line. I'm not going to go any further than that. Then I'm going to flip my paper over and do exactly the same again. Go into the 2 3/4 and score to that first score line there. Then I'm going to turn my paper all the way around again and do exactly the same. So 2 3/4 to the first score line, flip it over and 2 3/4 to the first score line. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to take that out. I don't need that now. So what I'm now going to do is, so there's the score line that I just did at 2 3/4 there. I don't need to go all the way across, but I'm going to bring my, oh, that's what I forgot to do. Bring my scoreboard back and pop that back in there. So now what I want to do is put a little notch at 1 1/8. So a little notch like that, at 1 1/8, which is halfway between the 2 1/4. Then I'm going to flip my paper over and I'm going to do exactly the same here, 1 1/8. Just a little notch as a guide. You can measure it if you want to at this point, but I just like to use the scoreboard. Now I'm going to bring in my ruler and I'm going to go from, so this is the score that's gone just from here to here, and I'm going to do another score line going from this notch here down to this score line here. So I'm going to put my there and just score all the way down, and if you want you can then bring that up and reinforce that score. I'm then going to come across to this side and do exactly the same here. So where those two join, put my score tool there, bring that up to that middle score line there, and I'm just going to score that as well. Now it's more difficult to reinforce this one because it's right in the middle of the paper, but you can just bring your paper up and do that. Then I'm going to do exactly the same on this side, so popping my score tool where the two lines meet and drawing my score tool down. Just going to reinforce that a little bit while the ruler's still there, and then again here. So, and these then are the gussets that we're going to use. This is what gives us that fold here, nice and crisp fold in there. Okay, so, oh, I didn't, never mind. I'm sure if I do that it's fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to fold it so that I can see where my score lines are, because I fell out of the channel on that one, so I just want to make sure I get the correct score line on that one. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my scissors and I'm now going to cut in on my score lines. I don't know whether you can see it better that way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this side of the score line. So I'm just at the moment to the right of that score line, all the way down, and then I'm going to take a slither of a notch out there, so that we now have that little notch there in the tab. I'm going to do exactly the same this time, and I'm going to go to the left of the score line this time. Bring it all the way down to that score line that's going across there. You will have done these as crafters, you'll have done these a dozen times, these sorts of tabs. And I'm going to cut that notch out as well. Okay, so I'm going to turn it round and do exactly the same on this side. So with this score line, I'm to the left of it, and I'm going to notch that out like that. And then with this, I'm going to be to the right of it, so this side of it, all the way down. So I'm removing the tag, removing the score line from both sides of the tag. There we go, all the way down, and remove that. So now I have a bit of a wonky tag there, but it's still a tag there. And these are where my score lines are when I did no, this is where my score lines are. So this one I'm now going to cut a chunk off. So coming about half an inch out, I'm going to cut that away. There we go. So this is the one where I've done those V lines, those V score marks. This is the side that I haven't. So again, about half, there's my score line. So I'm coming about half an inch away from that, and I'm going to cut all the way down to that tab. So now that's what I've got. Okay. So I'm going to reinforce all of those score lines now. Fold that up and reinforce those. So it's very quick, not much left to do now. And all that side. So, and the tab, and then this last little tab here, like that. Okay. Now, all I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring my double-sided tape in, and I am going to, let me see, yeah, so I'm going to put a piece, actually I'm going to use thinner double-sided than that. Let me grab that. So I'm going to put a piece of double-sided tape on these tabs here. So let me just bring that down. So there's that one, and on that one, like that. And then I'm going to put, yeah, and then I'm going to put some glue on there. So let me just bring out the glue all over there. You know, everybody who knows me knows that I prefer to use glue because I think it just bonds better and makes the project more longer lasting. I tend to use double-sided tapes for very short-lived projects, or projects that I know aren't going to be on display or under the tree or whatever, because I use it just to grab the project and hold it while the glue dries. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep those tags inside, and I'm going to bring up this thin tab, and I'm going to line it up with the thicker tab. So that's all I'm going to do at the moment, is bring that up like that and line up those edges there. Can you see? Like that. So reinforce. Now the double-sided tape will grab, and hopefully the glue will make sure this is a longer lasting box. It'll just strengthen it. And then I'm going to go inside, hopefully you can see, and I'm going to bring the tab up and glue that, press the glue down against the outer edges on both of those. So there we go. So that's one side done. Do exactly the same on this side. I'm going to take the carrier paper off, and I'm going to, so my tab is pushed back. Oops. And I'm going to bring this across so that it lines up, those edges line up there, like that. And then push down, reinforce that double-sided tape and the glue so that it grabs, and then go in, bring up the tag there, and then push that against the outer wall like that. So let's just do that so that it all grabs really well. And there we have our box. So if I push on here, that brings that box shape together. So let me just reinforce that corner a little bit more. I don't think that double-sided tape has grabbed it very well in that corner. Let's just go through it again. There we go. And I'll do the same this side, just to make sure it's all grabbed, and the glue will reinforce. Because we've cut this tag, this side down, it means that our score lines now will fold in. You may have to reinforce them on that side a little bit, but they should just all squeeze in beautifully like that. Okay, now to do the wrap. So you'll take your long piece, so this is the side I want to use, so I'm going to bring it over and I'm just going to fold it in half and make sure I line up that bottom and fold it in half like that, and I'm just going to reinforce that like that. Now this is where you do need 3 or 4 pairs of hands unfortunately. So let me just squeeze that in, make sure that it's sitting well. Like that. Sometimes they just need a bit of coaxing. So that's sitting like that. And then I'm going to put my, so this where the score line is will now just sit on top. So I'm going to squeeze in the box, both sides. So I'll squeeze it in like that while I've got this on the top. There we are. So now I've got it wrapped, wrapped around my box. So this is the fiddly bit. So my box is all joined at the top. I'm going to wrap it round, and then holding it very carefully, I'm going to bring in that bottom there like that and give that a little bit of a crease, and the same with this side, holding it carefully so that it all wraps round really snugly. You don't want it over tight, but you do want it snug. Now it's just shy of being a full wrap. That's why we need that extra piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue that on there. So let me just do that again. So you're going to hold your box shut like that. Like that. You're going to pop your wrap on top and push down so that it stays, so the box underneath stays shut to that point. And then you're going to bring your papers all the way down and then wrap around the bottom and reinforce where it wraps on that corner on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to take that off for a second, and I'm going to just reinforce where those crease marks are while the box is to one side. There we go, and I'm going to do the same on this side. Bring that over, make sure I'm lining up both sides like that and reinforce that. Now what I'm going to do is bring it back and just double check before I start gluing anything. So let's squeeze that shut, pop that on, and make sure that both of those fit over well. And as you can see, it fits lovely on both sides like that. Okay, so I'm going to take them off, and I'm going to put some double-sided tape, only this time I'm going to use the wider one. So let's grab that end and go down the middle of the back of this paper like that, and just rip that off. Oops, I've ripped the paper a little bit, but never mind, that will be covered. And then across to this side, let's snip that off and do exactly the same this side like that. Bring it all the way down, staying this side of that score mark like that. Just going to cut that bit of double-sided tape away. Okay, so now you've got a choice. You can either wrap it round and then glue it down, or you can just stick it down on here first. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to take that carrier off, and that's coming with it. Take the carrier off, there we go, that's better. I'm going to put a little bit of glue down there, just so as I know that it'll hold, and I'm going to just not go too close to that edge, just stay a little bit away from the fold. I'm just going to pop that down. This will help me when I go around the other side to rather than trying to glue two pieces, I'm going to try and glue the one. Right, so I'm going to take that carrier off as well. If I can get at it. There we go. Put a little bit of glue on as well. All the way down. And pop this back over. So again, squeeze that top shut. Pop it on. So I've got it nicely tight on there. Wrap it round, and then bring that round there. So I'm going to bring that up and just, there we go. So now we have our base on. So I can slide that in and out nice and easily. So all the way out. Let's pop it back in. There we go. That works fine. So now we're going to bring in those other two pieces. So there's my mirror card, and that's my paper. So all I've done with this is I've just rounded off the bottom on both sides, as you can see. So I'm just going to glue this one onto that one. Very simple. Nice, easy project. And you know, if you've got plenty, like I have, I've got plenty of Christmas papers and cards, and this is a great way to use them up while making simple presents and gifts for people. You know, the gift is what's inside, but the way it's wrapped just makes it a little bit more special. So I'm just going to flip that over onto the mirror card. Really careful, because if glue gets onto the mirror, it does show up. So there we go. Rub that in like that, and then decide. Normally, if your seam's on this side, that would be the back, but you've got the seam both sides, so it doesn't really matter. So decide which side you want for your front and which you want for your back. So I think I'm going to. Doesn't really matter. So these are looking upside down, so I'm going to have that one as the front. So let's pop some glue on the back of my mirror card. Actually, I'm going to put some double-sided tape on to hold it as well, just so it stays in place while the glue grabs. Yeah, because these will be hopefully under the tree or in the house with central heating. The double-sided tape just doesn't always, hold throughout the whole of the season, depending on when I give these presents out. Yeah, sometimes they do dry out, which isn't what you want if you're gifting, some nice presents or Christmas gifts. Right, so that's my front. So let me just pop that on. So going up into the corner, so along this edge here, pop that all the way along the edge and then roll it like that. So my double-sided tape would have grabbed that and hopefully now will hold it in place, and all I need is to find a nice little topper or something to put on the front there, and that is my Christmas box ready to go. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you'll give it a go. As I said, it's not an original idea, but I will check Jambi's page again just to double check that I haven't missed it. And if I do find it, I will pop it in the description box below. So if you're enjoying this series, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And yeah, I'll see you in the next day video, which is the halfway point of our 12 days of Christmas. Okay, take care folks. Speak to you soon. Bye for now.